Hello and welcome to ChartMill. This is the updated setup and watch lists for the upcoming week, March 18 before market open, based on the different Markman and Vinny screens that are built in ChartMill. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with those screens, just open the documentation section and go to the documentation center. Then select the stock screener tab. Scroll down, and then on the fundamental screens and strategies there are two articles available based on his book Think and Trade Like a Champion, part 1 and part 2. So the first part, there is some explanation about his system, and then we've applied different screens based on his book. So screen number 1, decent yearly earnings growth and acceleration. Screen number 2, decent quarterly earnings growth and acceleration. And then number 3, yearly revenue growth and acceleration, and number 4, the quarterly revenue growth. There are also screen number 5 and 6. Those are combinations of the previous screens. So if you want to know more, please read these both articles. So back to the screener, stock screener. I've already did the scanning, so I'm going to open the different watch lists. First, let's start with the Minute Vinny basic screen number 1. So yearly earnings growth and acceleration. Some of these setups of these names were already mentioned in the previous update. That's normal. So IR, again, last week it retested the 20 SMA, tight price range. It seems ready to break out. Also on the weekly, tight price range. Simon Property Group, high volume last Friday, regained the 20 and 10 SMA. And also on the weekly chart, as you can see, in tight price range. And if this one breaks out, the next level is 170. Textron, that's a new one, TXT, also high volume, bullish engulfing candle. It already went up quite aggressive, but there is a sideways mini range, as you can see over here. If it can break out, next level is 100. Ryanair Holdings, a double bottom last week. It regained the 10 and 20 SMA, and now it's close again to the high of this sideways range. Also on the weekly it's clearly visible, so possible breakout in the upcoming week. AMP, some strong price action, huge volume, bullish engulfing candle. It broke out, it can even go higher. The next round number is 500, so it all depends on your risk management. EME retested 10 SMA, huge volume, clear signs of accumulation, and also possible a breakout in the upcoming week. Race Ferrari, very tight price range in the last 3 days, also visible on the weekly chart, sort of a symmetrical triangle pattern. Two possibilities here. You can already take a position if this level at 425 breaks, or you wait. That's a little bit more conservative until price goes above 430. And the last one, APOG, big volume bar, went up more than 1%, and it's close again to the high, also a possible breakout. That's the screen number 1. So let's have a look at screen number 2. So quarterly earnings and acceleration. Again, EME. So some of these tickers are showing up in different screens, which is a good thing. ERIE, strong move up, very close to the high. Again, it's already there was already a very strong move, so it's quite a little bit overextended, but it doesn't mean you can't take a position. It all depends on your risk management. Heron Therapeutics, that's a very one I'm very keen of. HRTX, it made a very strong up move. I think it was more than 27%, changed 27.45%. And now there are 2 consecutive inside days. Also on the weekly chart, as you can see over here, big volume blocks, clear signs of accumulation. It started a very premature stage 2 uptrend with this last breakout, so definitely worthwhile to keep an eye on. A possible entry just above 3.2. Maybe it's even a possible day trade with a very short stop loss just below this swing low. And on the weekly chart, next resistance, the first one between $5 and $6, and then the current high on the long time frame is 22. So it's a high tide flag, so it's a very nice pattern. That was screen number 2. Then let's have a look at screen number 3. So this screen focuses on revenue growth and acceleration on a yearly base. Now for all these screens, the Mark Minervini trend template is in place. It's a qualifier. Without it, the stock will not be retained. So next tracker, sort of a cup and handle pattern on the daily, tight range on the weekly. The volume is up, so a possible breakout above 62 could be an entry. IR, it already showed up in the screen number 1 or 2, I suppose. So again, it shows up also for the revenue parameters. LPLA, strong up move, regaining the 20 and 10 SMA, close to the high again. And also on the weekly, it's a rather important resistance level, so if it can get above 270, maybe there will be a next leg up. T-Scan Therapeutics, it's not really ready. I've retained it because it's a symmetrical triangle pattern, so that's a possible setup. If you are more defensive, you should wait until price can get above 7.75 and when there is more tightness visible. But on the weekly chart, it's tightening up, as you can see. So that was screen number 3, the setups for screen number 3, and then the last one, screen number 4. And strong resistance on the weekly chart. So as you can see over here, there is strong resistance at 11.5. Next tracker, we already mentioned it in the previous screen. PWR, tight price range, so a possible breakout above 245. Essent Group, very important resistance level on the weekly chart. A clear VCP pattern on the weekly. So 1, 2, 3, 4. It's always getting tighter. Huge volume bar. So if this one breaks out above this high at 56.36, I think it's the high. That's a possible low risk entry with for example, a stop loss just below the 10 SMA. So that's it for our setup list. Next, let's have a look to my watch list. So these are all setups that are not quite ready for an immediate setup, but they are on my watch list. I'll keep an eye on these tickers. So the first is Coinbase. Very strong up move in the last couple of weeks, the last 2 months. And now it's retracing. It lost the 10 SMA, but it regained it in the last trading session. So a rather nice up move. So that's why it's on my watch list. Next, Netflix, still a tight price range. On the long term, next target that's on my radar is 700. And last Friday it lost the 10 SMA, minus 1.2% on rather heavy volume. That's not something I wish to see. Nevertheless, I will keep an eye on it. It remains a valid ticker to have on your watch list. If it breaks out above 620, there's definitely a low risk setup with the first target at $700. DoorDash also retesting 10 SMA, but it lost 1.5% last Friday and close was below 10 SMA, so at the moment on the watch list. AZAC testing the 20 SMA, and on the weekly chart some clear resistance at the $50 level. NTRA, big up move, high tide flag pattern on the weekly. Volume kicks in. Last Friday it went up more than 2% and regained the 10 SMA, so it should gain some more so that it's closer to the high. So I want some more tight price action over here. AROC, inside day, volume kicks in. Already a huge up move, but then again on the daily chart, if there is some more tightening over here, it can give us a low risk setup, but at the moment on the watch list. AMSC, also an inside day, stage 2 uptrend on the weekly chart. Raymond James Financial, bullish engulfing pattern. regaining the 20 and the 10 SMA, close to a resistance on the weekly chart at 126. So that's why it's on my watch list. Smith, AOS, heavy volume. It tried to break out last Friday, but the closing price was again in the trading range due to resistance on the weekly chart, I suppose, at 86 approximately. Ellison Transmission Holding, high tide flag on the weekly chart. It's tightening up, mini range over here the last 3 days, worthwhile to keep an eye on. Freshpet, very tight price range on the weekly chart, as you notice. Also on the daily chart, that's a symmetrical triangle pattern. So volume is slightly higher, so we need an up move close to 114, and then maybe we have a low risk entry setup. VTEX, its retracement setup, very strong up move on high volume, also on the weekly chart, premature stage 2 uptrend, and now it's retracing. The volume is very low, so if this one shows, for example, a bullish engulfing pattern with huge volume, that can be a very nice low risk entry. So that's why it's on my watch list. Advanced drainage systems, again tight price range, waiting for a next move up. Volume is higher. Skyward specialty insurance, regaining the 20 and 10 SMA, higher volume. Tight price range on the weekly, but it's a little bit too far from the high to be retained as a setup right now. Health equity, tightening up, sort of a symmetrical triangle pattern. Also visible on the weekly, and next target is 92, but a little bit too far for my taste, too far from the current high to it hold as a real setup. And the last one, international bank shares. Huge resistance on the weekly chart, 1, 2, 3, 4 times already was this price level tested. An enormous volume bar. It's currently too far from the high, from the 55, but it's on my watch list, especially for this volume bar. So it can go up and it can tighten up a little bit. Then this one can really give us a very nice entry. So that's the watch list. This watch list and the setup lists are available on the demo spreadsheet that I'm sharing on a daily basis on my Twitter account. So let's have a look. This is the portfolio watch list, so the stocks ready for a setup and stocks that are in the watch list. If the ticker is bold, then it means it appears in more than one screen. So currently this spreadsheet is at minus 2.16% since 2024. It's a very difficult trading environment, in my opinion. Already since 2024, 19 closed trades, only 5 wins and 14 losses, 13 losses and 1 break even. Nevertheless, it's only at minus 2.60%. And we've ended 2023 almost plus 12%. So it's very important to keep your risk management very tight. Otherwise, the loss would be much bigger. So very tight stop losses. Currently, cash is at more than 80% because it's such a difficult trading environment. To end the video, let's have a quick look at the market monitor page. SPY, QQQ and IWM. I'm going to open them in the stock charts and change the view to 2 charts, so a daily and weekly chart is visible next to each other. For the SPY, long trend is obviously still bullish. It's the 3rd time since 2024, or even the 3rd time that 20 SMA is tested. QQQ, the 20 SMA is lost again. That's also the 3rd time since 2024. I'm very interested in what's going to happen this week. IWM, small caps, inside day, rather big volume, so retesting the breakout level. Interesting levels for all these US index ETFs. Let's go back to the market monitor page. So sector performance on a 1 week basis, energy, consumer staples and materials were green, and heaviest loss for healthcare, utilities and real estate. And something interesting that's coming up on the historical bread numbers. March 15, red numbers for new highs, only 2.6% new highs, and already 2 consecutive days red numbers for the percentage advancing stocks in 1 week, declining stocks above 60% already the second week, stocks advancing just slightly above 30%, low numbers, so keep that in mind and keep positions, new setups, very low position size. Cash is also a worthy alternative. So that's it for this video. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below and I'll see you soon. Thanks for watching.